Welcome back to day 12 of our Advent calendar reflections. Today is the feast day of Our Lady of Guadalupe, who we will learn about next. But first, the bundle of grain represents Ruth, who, though not a Jew herself, and although she was discriminated against by many, she was loved by God just the same. God does not discriminate, and He loves all people.
12th December, the feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. Let's go back in time over 450 years ago, where a humble and lowly native Indian named Juan Diego in Mexico was visited by Our Lady and changed the course of history for many. On a very early Saturday morning, right before dawn, Juan Diego was on his way to church when passing at the base of the hill known as Tepeyac. He heard the sound of singing coming from the top of the hill. But the singing seemed to be of many different types of birds. And when they paused from singing, it seemed as though the mountain replied. Juan Diego thought he was dreaming. Was this real? He looked to the top of the mount where the singing came from, and it stopped. There was silence. He then heard a voice, Juanito, Juan Dieguito. He followed where the sound was coming from. He was not afraid. He was in fact overjoyed. Juan climbed the hill, and when he reached the top, he saw a beautiful lady. She was grand. Her clothes were shining bright like the sun. The whole area seemed to be transformed because of her presence. He bowed before her and heard her tenderly say, Juanito, the most humble of my sons, where are you going? He replied, My lady and child, I have to reach your church in Mexico City for the divine service. She then spoke to him, Know for certain, you the most humble of my sons, that I am the perfect and perpetual Virgin Mary, Mother of the true God, through whom everything lives, the Lord of all things near and far, the Master of heaven and earth. It is my earnest wish that the temple be built here to my honor. Here I will demonstrate, I will give all my love, my compassion, my help and my protection to the people. I am your merciful mother, the merciful mother of all you who live united in this land and of all mankind, of all those who love me, of those who cry to me, of those who seek me, of those who have confidence in me. Here I will hear their weeping, their sorrow, and will remedy and alleviate all their multiple sufferings, necessities, and misfortunes. She then instructed him to go to the bishop and to say to him that she wished that at that place a temple be built to her. She stressed that he relate everything he had seen and heard and admired, and that she would be grateful and would reward him. He bowed and said he would do as she asked and hurried to the bishop. He went straight to the palace of the bishop. When he arrived, he begged and pleaded with the servants to allow him in. After a long wait, he was able to see him. He related his story, and when he was finished, the bishop asked him to come back again at when it was convenient to the bishop and to relate the entire story again. And then he would give some judgment on that request. The bishop did not believe him. Juan Diego left feeling dejected. He returned straight away to the top of the mount where he had first seen the lady from heaven. He told her what had happened and begged her to choose someone else, someone of more importance. Maybe then the bishop would listen. The Virgin Mary responded, telling Juan that she has many messengers whom she trusts the delivery of her messages. But this particular message she entrusted to him. She ordered him to go back to the bishop again in her name and to make known her request. He said at her command and without hesitation, although he did not believe that he would be listened to or be received well again, he would go. On the Sunday after church, he went to see the bishop. Again, he had to plead to see him when he was eventually allowed. He fell to his knees and cried as he related the Virgin Mary's request that a temple be built at the site that she chose. The bishop asked many questions and at the end told Juan that a sign must be given. When Juan asked what kind of sign, he was quickly dismissed. On the following day, when Diego was to carry a sign back to the bishop, he was not able to keep that promise. When he got home, his uncle, Juan Bernardino, was sick and was burning with a fever, something that the locals knew would lead to death. His uncle, sensing the end was near, requested a priest to make confession and to prepare him. On Tuesday morning, one set off to get the priest, but as he reached the road close to the bottom of the hill where he met Our Lady, he thought surely she would see him and ask him to go to the bishop again, and that would just delay him going to get a priest to hear his uncle's confession. As he made his way to go around the hill, he saw the lady descend and then approach him. She asked him, where was he going? He bowed and told her that he was very sad and that he was hurrying to get a priest to hear his uncle's confession. He begged her forgiveness and promised to return the next day to deliver her message. She responded, hear me and understand well, my son the least, that nothing should frighten or grieve you. Let not your heart be disturbed. Do not fear that sickness, nor any other sickness or anguish. Am I not here, who is your mother? Are you not under my protection? Am I not your health? Are you not happily within my fold? What else do you wish? Do not grieve nor be disturbed by anything. Do not be afflicted by the illness of your uncle, who will not die of it. Be assured that he is now cured. One was overjoyed. He told Our Lady about the sign that was requested. She told him to climb to the top of the hill where he first saw her. There he would find different flowers. He was to cut them and bring them back to her. When he reached the top of the hill, he was amazed. He saw many beautiful Castilian roses. This was strange because it was winter at that time, and there were not many trees or plants that would be able to grow in those freezing temperatures. They were beautiful and fragrant. He cut them and then hurried to the lady. She told him that there are many different types of flowers would be the sign which he would take to the bishop, and he would have to comply. She arranged the flowers and then placed them back into his tilma. So we just pause a second. So if you look in the picture, you see that he has a cloak on, and it would make sense because it is winter. It's very, very, very cold. So he would be wearing a cloak. And that is what he wrapped those flowers in, and that's what we refer to as his tilma. She instructed him not to open his tilma until he was in the presence of the bishop. He hurried to the bishop, carefully ensuring that he did not drop any flower. When he reached the palace again, he would have to wait for a long time. The servants even pretended not to see him, but when they saw that he was not leaving and that he was hiding something in his tilma, they decided to go and investigate. One knew that he could not hide as they approached him and unfolded his tilma just a little so they could take a little peek. The servants were amazed to see the variety of flowers and how beautiful, fresh, and fragrant they were. They attempted to take a flower 3 times, and the 3 times the flowers they tried to take disappeared. They appeared as painted or sewed onto the cloth. They then ran to the bishop to tell him what they had seen. On hearing this, the bishop immediately ordered that he be brought in, as he realized one had returned with the sign. As one entered the room, he knelt before the bishop and again related her request and told him about how he got the roses at the top of the hill and how the lady arranged them in his cloth to bring to him. As he unfolded his cloak, the different types of roses fell out, which was a miracle in itself because to be growing at that very cold temperature. But what was even more remarkable was that an image of the ever-Virgin Mary appeared on his cloth. All who saw fell to their knees and were saddened by their previous disbelief. The bishop removed the cloth from one's neck and placed it in his private chapel. The following day, they asked one to show them where the lady wished to have the temple built. As he neared the area, one pointed to the spot and asked to be excused. He wanted to visit his uncle, who was gravely ill, but the Virgin Mary did promise that he would be healed. All who went then accompanied him to his home. They were greeted by his uncle, who was joyful and well. He asked how was it that he would be visited by so many people, including the bishop. One told him about what the Virgin had said and that he would be healed, and his uncle confirmed. He said that when she visited him, his fever immediately left, and she told him that she wants to be known as Santa Maria de Guadalupe. So let's look at the image that was on his tilma. So we just look at a couple of things. So just to bring in context. So this happened at a time where the Aztecs were, and for many years, were practicing human sacrifices at that site. So this image was really for the Aztecs at that time because it's filled with a lot of symbols that they recognize immediately. Now it is so rich and there's so much, but we'll just look at a couple. So first, if you look at Our Lady, she's surrounded by clouds. So that shows that she is from heaven. They normally greeted people who they thought were close to God or came from God with the expression, among fog and among clouds. Then we look at the sun. Now there's actually three. If you look at her left side of her face, it is more brightly lit compared to the right side of her face, right? So you see one part's a little lighter. That's because there's a sun that is shining on that side of her face, and that's a cosmic sun. So we can't see it. It's not the image, but it's a cosmic sun. And that's why the other part of her face is in shadow. Then the other one, you see golden rays, or you see rays rather, that are coming out from behind her. So she is actually eclipsing the sun god, the Aztec sun god. So she is greater than that. And then there's a third sun that is represented by 4 petal flowers on her tunic. And that 4 petal flower indicates that she's about to give birth to the Almighty Sun. So if you look carefully, you will see some 4 petal flowers all throughout her clothes. Then, by her neck, there's a cross medallion. And again, that cross medallion represents her son. Her hands are pointed upwards. They're pointed upwards to that cross on her neck and that medallion. Very important, if you look at her mantle and her tunic is a rose-tinted color that symbolizes the earth, whilst her mantle is a color that represents royalty, queen. And then if you look, there are stars on that mantle. And what is amazing is that those stars are the constellation of the stars that existed on that date, December 12, 1531. Amazing. Then we see there's a black ribbon. So the black ribbon around her waist, it shows that she's expecting a child. And if you remember when Juan Diego greeted her, he said, lady and child. So she was preggers at that time. She was with child, right? And then we see that there's an angel, and the angel with the eagle's wings, they're below her feet, right? And that's according to Aztec belief. An eagle delivered the hearts and the blood of sacrificial victims to the gods. The angel holds up the pregnant virgin, signifying that the child in her womb is the offering that pleases God. So again, there are many more. So it's good if it is that, we're able to look it up. And one that is amazing that I left for last is that in her eyes, the image of her eyes, there's a reflection, and there are persons in that image. And it is believed that the persons in that reflection in her eyes are Juan Diego, the bishop, and others who were there on that day. Amazing. So what should we take away from this entire experience? We looked at the words that she spoke to Juan Diego. Hear me and understand well that nothing should frighten or grieve you. Let not your heart be disturbed. Do not fear that sickness, nor any other sickness or anguish. Am I not here who is your mother? Are you not under my protection? Am I not your health? Are you not happily within my fold? What else do you wish? Do not grieve nor be disturbed by anything. Our Lady of Guadalupe, pray for us and for all who invoke thy aid. And this here, we have the image of where it is now. And this last picture here, we see where the old basilica was built on that site. And then on the right-hand side, you see where the new basilica is, and it's circular. So it's circular because where the image is located in that new basilica, you can see it anywhere where you are. O Mary, conceive without sin, pray for us who are close today.
A huge thanks thanks to Mimi for telling us all about our wonderful Lady of Guadalupe who appeared to Saint Juan Diego as a pregnant Amerindian maiden all those years ago. So everyone, your next step for today, day 12, is to pray 3 Hail Marys, asking Our Lady to pray for all unborn children that they may be kept safe and healthy in the wombs of their mothers. Please don't forget to like our Advent calendar videos on Facebook, and please share as well